Hi, my name is Jacob Weber, and today I will be talking about the importance of allowing yourself to be bored. So, firstly, boredom should not be looked at as something negative necessarily. Boredom can be seen as freeing the mind. Peter Bregman, author and CEO, says, "Being bored is a precious thing, a state of mind we should all pursue. Once boredom sets in, our minds begin to wander, looking for something exciting, something interesting to land on, and that's where creativity arises." We are in a society today where we never allow ourselves or our minds to be quiet. When we're on a plane, on a train, sitting in between classes, what we always resort to is going on our phones. And I think this happens for one of two reasons. The first being we don't want to look awkward by not doing anything, because you do stand out when you are just sitting alone with your thoughts unoccupied, essentially. And I think boredom is a big break from this and something that we could definitely embrace. So a perspective change can change your whole outlook on how boredom is perceived. So boredom can be defined as a tame longing without any particular object. And this leads me to talk about the philosophy of Taoism. Taoism is an ancient Chinese philosophy and a philosophy that Buddhism is actually surrounded by. When you talk to a true Taoist, one of the things that they'll say is to be like water. Water will always get to its final destination. It'll just find the path of least resistance to get there. So what this essentially means is to kind of let things happen the way they naturally should, and what they'll say is let the universe make it happen. Obviously, in Christianity, it's really having God help you along and Him giving you the steps while you become a progressive person in order to complete those different goals that you have in mind. So being overstimulated is not good for many different reasons, and one of them is an increased anxiety. Due to procrastination, when you have a big goal or a deadline to meet, it is very common for someone to not start that goal and not give 100% attention to it, and this will lead, to 40% attention. The other 60% you are going on your computer, looking at 10 different tabs, trying to almost distract yourself in a sense. So this will actually lead, obviously, to a lower attention span as well, and it will also reduce creativity, not allowing yourself to freely think. When you are doing a project and you get stumped, you usually say, okay, 10 minutes, I'll come back to this, I'll finish it up. And then you find yourself 10 minutes later completely distracting yourself with, let's say, TikTok, for example. And all of a sudden you still find yourself stumped because you didn't allow yourself to freely think at all during that time period. So boredom can lead to an increase in creativity. When you allow yourself to freely think, it opens your minds to new experiences and can also help you create new goals for yourself. Let's say there's a goal that you've always had in mind, like, for example, let's say running a half marathon. And when you allow yourself to freely think and not distract yourself, you'll start creating a set list of different ways to achieve this goal that you've always wanted to achieve. And this will lead to more self-control. It is quite easy to have a random spike of motivation where you're sitting not really doing anything, and then all of a sudden you find yourself extremely motivated. So you get up and go to the gym, or you start reading about something you've always wanted to learn about. But that's not really what matters. What matters is the ability to be disciplined in that. And I think boredom can really help that, because you're not constantly just zoned in on 10 different things. You can just be zoned in on one. So it's not necessarily about allowing yourself to be bored all the time, but it's rather redirecting what you do in times of boredom. And it's not necessarily free time. I mean, everyone has hobbies, right? But it's really those dead times when you have nothing going on. And I think it's really important to give your mind a break. And especially like times before bed and stuff, it's really easy to just, play video games or do whatever you're doing, so your mind is constantly stimulated. So by the time you're going to bed, you're staying up for another hour just thinking. So I think being disciplined in the ability to just allow yourself to put everything down and really just think. And then here are my references for this presentation. So thank you so much for listening.